Am I the asshole for refusing to modify my house for my disabled tenant? Before you call me an hear me out. I, 21 female, lived in a house with my disabled great-aunt until about 3 years ago when she passed. She left me the deed to the house. I've been living in it ever since by myself. The house itself is a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2-story house. My aunt had the downstairs modified to be wheelchair accessible when she became confined to a wheelchair, but she never bothered to fix up the second floor because she never went up there because her room and office was downstairs. I eventually moved at 14 and took over the upstairs. When I lost my job because of COVID, I decided to rent out the extra 2 rooms downstairs, because I don't use them. I was very reluctant about living with a stranger, but I needed the income. So I eventually found Brian, 26 male, who is in a wheelchair due to a car accident that left him paralyzed in his legs. He rented out both rooms, one for his bedroom and the other for an office. I'm not going to lie, the fact that he's in a wheelchair makes me feel better about having a stranger living in the house. Because I know he can't hurt me. We've been living together since June, and we get along pretty well. He's a nice guy, but he's been hassling me about getting one of those chair things for the stairs so he can go to the second floor, but I've been refusing. I told him that the downstairs is wheelchair accessible, so there's nothing he can get upstairs that he can't get downstairs, and that the upstairs is my space and he doesn't have a right to go up there. I think I'm not the asshole, but my brother disagrees. Am I the asshole? Edit. I do realize he could still hurt me, but it would be difficult. He is totally paralyzed, absolutely no used in the legs. And while I bet he does have the arm strength, I'm a 155'4" woman who was a powerlifter in high school. I could most definitely overpower him if need be. He is paying for the 2 rooms and use of the common areas bathrooms, 1 guest, and one that is privately his, living room, kitchen, dining room, backyard. Upstairs is my room, my office, my bathroom, and a small living room at the top of the stairs. I do keep a mini fridge and a microwave upstairs just for those long nights where I don't feel like going downstairs. Not the asshole. There's no reason he needs to be going upstairs. The part of the house he is renting is in fact accessible. I feel the need to caution you, however. The fact that he is a wheelchair user doesn't mean he would be incapable of causing you harm. If there's nothing upstairs he needs, if he has access to the kitchen, bathroom, bedroom, etc. on the main floor, and you've said the upstairs is your personal space, I say not the asshole. It's your house. I don't know about the laws etc. where you are, but in my opinion, if it's your personal space like your room, your office, your bathroom, he has no reason to go up there anyhow. Not the asshole. He rented the 2 rooms downstairs and common area access. But please contact a lawyer to make sure you are in the clear. Edit. Thank you for the award, kind Redditors. As a part-time chair user, he absolutely could hurt you if he wanted. Don't baby disabled people. Not the asshole. Continually refer to contract about accessibility and what space is his. If he keeps being insistent, have him move out. Not the asshole. There's literally nothing upstairs that he needs to access. That's your space, the same way the 2 rooms he's rented are his. He also had access to all the main floor, where I'm assuming he had his own bathroom and access to a shared living room and kitchen. It's very strange that he wants to go upstairs even he has no legit reason to need to go there. What was his reasoning? Info. Has he given a specific reason for wanting to go upstairs? Not the asshole. Don't assume a wheelchair-bound man can't hurt you. The fact that he wants access to the second floor which he doesn't need access to points to him trying to get near you. At this point I would be very cautious about his intentions and if possible evict him. Try getting female family renters. A male renter is always riskier even if he's disabled. Info. What does the lease agreement say? Is he renting a room or an apartment? Does the lease say he has access to the second floor? Is there something on the second floor he wants access to, like a full kitchen that's not accessible on the first floor? Not the asshole. He has access to the rooms he rents, not to the rooms corridors he doesn't rent. If you put a door and lock in front of the stairs, you'd be okay too. Info. What would you have done if you hadn't rented to a tenant who is a wheelchair user? And why does your tenant feel the need to go upstairs? Are there common areas upstairs as some homes have game rooms, etc.? The first time I was sexually assaulted was by an 18-year-old male who was quadriplegic and only had use of one arm, who repeatedly groped my lower lady parts while I served him and his group at a restaurant. Dude took full advantage to grope me. I had just turned 18 myself. NTA, if he's renting rooms downstairs and all functions he needs are downstairs, why would he need access to the second floor, especially if that's where you're living? I was getting ready to call you the asshole based on the title, but no, you're not the asshole. There's no reason for him to go upstairs. It's not in a part of the house that he need access to based on the lease he signed. Not the asshole. You would not give him the key to your bedroom. There is no reason to give him access to your areas. Because I know he can't hurt me. As many others has mentioned, paralyzed legs does not mean harmless. They will often have massive strength in their arms. I am strong, obesity builds muscles, yay, silver lining, and have worked with disabled people for more than a decade. One of the tenants I was working the most on had a lower spinal injury, and was paralyzed from hips down. Dude was genuinely dangerous, to the extent where we had a security alarm on when we were alone with him. It is easier to dodge them, outrun them, and so on, that is true. The moment they get hold of you, you are stuck. No assholes here, but as someone who works within the rental market, you're 100% going to need to look up your state's laws on tenant rights and may want to contact a property attorney. From what you've said, this sounds like it probably falls within the unreasonable accommodation clause. As a landlord, you're legally required to allow for reasonable accommodations, basically changes to the property, handlebars in the bathroom, etc., and depending on the state might be liable for the cost. So, like I said, a chair to a part of the property that isn't included in the rental agreement sounds like it would fall into the unreasonable accommodation category, and you should be fine. But IANAL, and our legal advice is going to be a better place for this sort of question. Not the asshole. He's renting out space downstairs, not upstairs. Not being able to access upstairs doesn't put his health or safety in jeopardy. Not the asshole. There is absolutely no reason for him to go upstairs, and furthermore doesn't have the permission to do so. Therefore there is absolutely no need to make the upstairs accessible to him. Honestly, I find it a bit creepy that he keeps hassling you about it. Not the asshole. He's renting 2 rooms but gets access to the entire downstairs area. The upstairs is your home and he has no reason to go up there and intrude on your living space. NTA. He's low-key being the He has no reason to be going upstairs. Just because he's in a wheelchair doesn't mean he can get special favors. A lot of people rent out their basements. That doesn't mean that the tenants are allowed to be in the upper portion tie-ons without permission. Tell him he's only paying for the downstairs portion, and if he wants the chair thing he needs to pay himself, and tell him since he wants to use the upper portion, his rent is also going to increase. NTA. It's your crib, and if they have everything they need downstairs it shouldn't be a problem. Not the asshole. That's creepy. Just because he's in a wheelchair doesn't mean he can't hurt you. Be cautious. I'd evict him. Your brother doesn't get it because he's not a woman dealing with predators all the time. Not the asshole. He's only renting downstairs so he wouldn't be allowed upstairs even if it was accessible. Honestly, this is very weird. If he brings it up again ask him why, but you should think about renewing the lease. Not the asshole. I would recommend you make sure you have in writing, either for Brian if you can, or definitely for the next tenant, what spaces are included in the rental agreement. Have a sit down with Brian and clarify that what his rent includes, all access on the main floor, is the same as what any tenant would have access to, and that the upstairs is off limits to everyone except yourself. This would be good to do immediately, in case he has friends over who decide they want to explore the second level. Not the asshole. What does he need access to the upstairs for? Not the asshole. If the only thing upstairs is a private area. Not the asshole. First off, he knew what he was renting. He didn't have to sign a lease if he didn't like the house. Second, he has no reason to go upstairs. Not the asshole. It's your house and he rents downstairs. As long as the rooms he actually rented are accessible, Which is my understanding of the situation. You are not the asshole in this instance. But it's foolish and ableist to think he can't hurt you since he's in a mobility device. Not the asshole at all. Make it perfectly clear to him that it creeps you out that he wants to be able to access your space and that if he keeps insisting you will end his rental agreement. And tell your brother he is the asshole for telling you, you are in the wrong. You are not. Brian rented 2 downstairs rooms and I assume he has access to a bathroom and kitchen there, that you share? The kitchen? If it makes you feel better, install a door in front of the stairs or upstairs at the stairs with a lock so you can close off your living space. Not the asshole. Sounds like it's just your bedroom upstairs? He should have no reason to go up. He already has full access to his areas and shared areas. What other rooms are upstairs? Not the asshole given he rents the bottom 2 rooms and common areas and upstairs is your area. Not the asshole. It sounds like you've subdivided, the home into 2 apartment areas essentially or like dorms. Yours, and his. As long as he has access to what he needs then no. My only devil's advocate thought, for whatever reason he may just feel like he wants to be able to do or go where he could if he did not have a disability. An able-bodied person could choose to go upstairs, reasons for so or not, and he just wants that inclusion so to speak. If he's a long-term tenant then maybe your decision will change and you'll feel more comfortable with the idea. But yeah, not the asshole. Not the asshole. However, I would urge you to ask him directly in his face why he feels the need to go up, as that is your space. And don't stop asking now unless there is a direct answer from him. It seems pretty creepy from the neutral perspective. Not the asshole. Make it clear that the tenant is renting the downstairs rooms and nothing else. If this guy keeps it up, I think I would have to reconsider his renting the place at all. If he's continuously disrespecting your home with this stuff, get a more suitable tenant. If your neighbor asked you to always keep your door unlocked, so they can enter, would you do it? NTA. Not the asshole. You rented out 2 rooms in your house, not the whole house. Brian was lucky to find a wheelchair-accessible living space. If he wants more space he needs to find somewhere else. Info. What's his justification for wanting access to your space? Not the asshole. Bolt, chain and bar your door if you have to. He needs 0% access to anything farther than getting in and out of his own rented space. Disability does not entitle you to use the whole building. That would be like renting out an apartment in a building and demanding a key to everyone's door because he's disabled. Like no. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. He's renting the downstairs part, and I find it really creepy that he demands access to your private area. Not the asshole. He has access to everything he pays for and needs. Check your area's landlord-tenant laws to make sure they aren't worded in a way that could work against you. You should probably consult a lawyer too. I don't have personal experience with it but I have heard from people using LegalZoom I believe it was called, was beneficial. It's like a subscription service for lawyers or legal help. You pay a small fee monthly and they help draw up documents and stuff if you need them. If there's an actual court case I think you get a referral to a lawyer in your area. It may be worth looking into to make sure your lease agreement is sufficient and help you find information on property laws. I have a weird theory that maybe he thinks you two will become a couple and he expects you to make the upstairs accommodating for a relationship he created in his head. As long as he has access to the areas he is renting, he has nothing to complain about. He does not deserve access to anything else, even if you have a movie room, living room, study upstairs. Super creepy that he wants access to your living quarters. He does not have a right to go in your spaces that he is not paying rent on. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. He has 0 reason to be upstairs. Your agreement said 2 rooms downstairs. Tell him the discussion is over. Not the asshole. He rents the 2 rooms he doesn't need access to upstairs. If it was a bungalow would he expect to go into your rooms? The stairs are basically a locked door to your space. If he doesn't like it he can leave. Given that the rooms he rents are wheelchair-friendly, I doubt he has a legal case as he doesn't need access and doesn't have permission to go into your space. Also, please don't assume that a wheelchair makes him harmless or unable to hurt you. You could argue that he wants access in order to gain the upper hand, or to creepily watch you sleeping lol. The fact that he is in a wheelchair is not the point. The fact that he wants access to your living space is. He rents a certain part of the house, and he has access to those rooms. That's like wanting to be able to get into your neighbor's apartment. NTA. Not the asshole. Did you rent out the upstairs? No, not his issue. Nothing to do with him being handicapped or not. Not the asshole. Do you come and go inside to the 2 rooms he rents? I'm assuming you don't, since that's his private space, just like your private space is upstairs. Not the asshole. If the downstairs is his living space and the upstairs is yours, I can't see why he'd need to go upstairs. Has he said why he wants upstairs to be accessible? NTA. If possible, install a door with a lock at the top of the stairs. I knew a guy who had no legs but could haul himself upstairs no problem. Best case scenario, your tenant is just nosy and entitled. Worst case, your tenant has bad plans for you.